and I just never will go back. And I think this video is really going to...
So we've got, I'll never go back to a 9-to-5 job, but yeah, this video is taken off for a reason. Pay attention.
The reasons I will never go back to a 9-to-5 job, and I choose self-employment, business and entrepreneurship any day of the week, and I just never will go back. And I think this video is really going to resonate with a lot of people. It will hit home, and I hope to wake a few of you up. Because for me, I escaped not because I was financially driven, but because I didn't want to deal with the BS, the office politics, the co-workers, the drama, the control. We're going to jump into all of this in much more detail in a moment, but I want to give full context before we get into the bulk of this video. Now, who is this video and who is it not for? Well, if you are happy to remain in a job, build someone else's dreams, conform, this video isn't for you. But perhaps you have insecurities or imposter syndrome, or you lack self-belief. Well, maybe you want to continue watching, because I'll also talk about the reality, the accessibility, how the world has changed, and actually getting out of a job isn't about building the biggest business. You don't need to have a big limited company, having hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds going through company's house just to get out of a job. You don't need loads of staff, an office, a warehouse that you need to rent. You could start a little sole trading company, become a content creator, monetize your passion, whatever it is, and that would allow you eventually to leave your job if you know what you're doing and you can commercialize and switch on your entrepreneurship mindset. Now look, for me, it's very simple. I wanted happiness. I wanted a life by design, which was built around me and my family. I wanted choice. I wanted options. I wanted full control. And I'm also aware, and all of you should be, with the amount of information that's being circulated on the internet and just how much has come to light, we are in a rigged system, and I refuse to be a part of that. We're also in a society where it's normal to fall into consumer spending. Halloween, you spend money. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas Day, all these events and festivals and, you know, National Day.
I think I watched a video where it said there's a holiday for every single month. Like St. Patrick's Day, like every single month is a holiday, and it's done by design to get you to spend more money. Like literally every single month there's something that goes on. They want you to celebrate so you can spend money. Let me know if you've seen the video or if you can relate in regards to what I just mentioned in the comment section down below. But yeah, this video is crazy.
Days we go out and we spend money, we become a slave to the wage, you become trapped, you go get the mortgage, you have the family and everything like that, and then you're locked into a job for the next 45 years of your life building someone else's dreams. I was just aware, like, I don't know, maybe I was ahead of my time, I'm not sure, but I was aware. I had my son at a very young age, thank God. He gave me perspective, made me selfless, and then I began pursuing entrepreneurship and educating myself. But why will I never go back? Well, it's not about the money, although that's a great thing. You know, when you work for yourself, you can earn as much money as you want. You know, your revenue is based on results. Okay, so let's start with co-workers. You go into an environment you don't particularly want to be in, but you have to be there to earn money and pay your bills. And then you are put with people you wouldn't choose to be with on the outside world. And that just didn't sit well with me. Like, I have high values and standards of those that I want to be around, talk to, learn from, you know, and just have general conversation. And I just found I just didn't really have much in common with people. Yes, I got on and I was polite and I had some good banter, but ultimately we didn't share the same visions, we didn't have things in common. And I suppose, again, I was just aware of this, and I wasn't comfortable spending 40 hours a week with people who will backstab, they'll brown nose, they'll have alter egos, they will play people off against each other. You know, it is very dog eat dog. I talk about the employed world like a pyramid. Starts very wide at the base, but the higher you go up, it becomes very acute as you go up in promotions and people are snapping at your heels. You know, you have to remember co-workers are driven by the wage at the end of the month, and they will typically, 90% of co-workers will do everything and anything they need to in order to survive in their job, which means if you're in the firing line, they will throw you under a bus. I don't care what anyone says about, well, I love my co-workers, I trust them, we back each other, we've become lifelong friends. I do not care. If both of you are in the workplace and push comes to shove, they will throw you under a bus, period. because they are feeding their families, they are not feeding yours. It is very, very, very rare, and I do understand there are some occasions where you can create real friendships, but you have to again share very similar values and have the same standards in life, and then you might match up. But 9 times out of 10 you are going to be surrounded with people who do not have your best interests at heart, and they are there serving themselves first. But if we look on the other side of entrepreneurship, oh my God, what a different world. Collaborative, supporting. You know, I have friends who are other business owners and they just ring you up. Is there anything I can do? My guy at Melit Parfums sent me down a load of, you know, like sprays and aftershaves and just said, look, buddy, I just want to send them to you. I have Matt Fidesz ring me up the other day asking how business is going. Matt Fidesz is super successful. I have friends that literally do millions upon millions of pounds in terms of business revenue who are...
Okay, on this part, I'm going to be real. It's not like that for the average entrepreneur who's starting out. You don't have all of these connections. So I don't know this guy personally because it's the first time. So obviously he's got those connections. So I'm not saying he's wrong. But when you do begin, it can be very lonely, very tough to build up to even this level to have, you know, all the connections. But what you will notice with entrepreneurship is people genuinely want you to succeed, because they almost intrinsically understand that your success is their success, especially if you become good friends. Like maybe they could gain something from you. And I'm not saying this in an evil kind of way, they're trying to gain things from you, but they know if they're genuine and honest with you, your success could influence their success, because you might know someone that might need their service because you're not a direct competitor. Even if you are, there are, you know, we've seen the rough where it's very competitive, but you get what I'm saying. So it's unique in that sense, whereas jobs...
well ahead of me, just constantly asking, do you need anything? Or next time you're in London, come up and see us and pop into the office. And it's so collaborative and supportive. And at times it's so overwhelming with how nice entrepreneurs and other business owners are. But there's this misconception that successful people are like Scrooge and bar humbug and bad people and they steal from the poor. And honestly, unless you step into the world and you go start networking in London and put yourself around these people, you will look back at your job and you will think, why on earth am I putting up with these negative, toxic people who just constantly play this political corporate poker game trying to do one over on everyone? But yet you step into entrepreneurship and it is, honestly, the more you help each other, the more you collaborate, the more you support each other, it comes back in waves. And I could never go back to a workplace environment where it literally is dog eat dog. And that's the God's honest truth, which then leads me into office politics. I could not stand office politics. I mean, it drove me mad, the amount of people that would literally play the draining game of politics. And some people even get off on it. Quick swig. Talking behind each other's backs, and it's just draining. And I mean, I used to stay out the drama and I would never get involved in it because, like I say, I would live by my motto, last one in, first one out. I'd do my job, do it efficiently, and then I'd go home, and I was just constantly working.
But you do also need to be careful. I know you relate with me. You do have to be careful because you kind of have to play the system in a way. Because if you are solely an individual who just goes in and you go out, you're gonna get it because you're not integrating with the team. You just come in, which seems like normal. You come in, you just get your work done. But the people who love building drama, office drama, and all of this, they're going to plot against you. Or he's not really engaging or interacting with the team. He doesn't go on, you know, on night outs. You're not involved in the gossip, which I understand. You just want to get your money and like you're working on building whatever it is you're building. But some jobs, some offices, I'm not saying all, but some offices, they don't like that. They don't like that. You keep yourself, you're too closed. So, you know, some places just hate that, man.
Working on myself,
you know what I'm talking
until
about.
The day I could leave. But the office politics, you have zero politics when you work for yourself. And again, in context, in the online world, I'm not talking about running a big corporate company of 200, 300, 400 people. That's not what I'm referring to in my videos. Again, full context, online business, lean scale up, freelance remote workers. Yes, I have team members, but they're remote, they're freelance, they're entrepreneurs themselves, they work their own times. That's what I'm on about. There's zero politics. At the moment, I have 17 members within my personal brand. Within our events company, we have up to about 11 people at any one point working. Zero politics. Zero. I deal with no politics, and that is just something that is so refreshing, and you don't have any mental health problems from that. It's not draining on your mindset. It's not taking up any brain space. The other thing is as well for me, while I'd never go back to a 9 to 5, is I just wasn't comfortable building someone else's dreams. And I don't know if you are, but I'm not. I know that as human beings, we can push ourselves to limits we don't even think are possible at times. I am not prepared or happy to exchange my one precious asset I'll never get back, which should be only going to me and my family, which is time. Again, it's not making the most amount of money, which is the biggest flex, and having materialistic things. How much time do you have? Like, I love recording and filming YouTube videos to hopefully inspire other people and help them out. And I love getting in the car and filming these YouTube videos because I have time to do this. Okay, I've created the time for myself. And remember, you can't buy it, you can't save it, you can't invest it. You can only spend time. So what are you doing with it? Become aware of where is your time going. So that I wasn't happy with. When you work for yourself, yeah, for sure. Depending on the business model and how much you can automate and build teams and stuff like this, and if you're online, yes, you're going to need to put in time and effort to build your own thing. Have I done long hours? Gosh, yeah, I've done long hours. Yeah, I've done the 15, the 18-hour days in the past. I don't do that now, but in the beginning, for sure. But to the people that say, well, there you go, you have to work all the hours under the sun and everything like that. Yeah, in the beginning, but it's for me and my family. It's to leave something behind that my son can take over, or we could sell, and I could exit out of the business and the brand. Yeah, that's a whole nother video about selling brands now. That's becoming a really big thing. So that's the difference. I just wasn't happy working in a rig system, going through this Groundhog Day, building someone else's dreams, when I know that education has never been more accessible. Networking, podcast, Audible books, YouTube, TikTok, getting a mentor, having a coach, free information, free groups, free communities or paid communities, whatever you choose to do. There's all this information, we absorb it, and then we just need to apply it. Why on earth would I carry on going through Groundhog Day when I know I could change my life? So that never sat well with me. So I would always build my own dreams. The other thing is I felt very trapped and controlled. Aaron, you got to start your shift at this time. You got to finish at this time. This is when you have your break. This is when you have your lunch. You can only have 28 days holiday a year. You have to ask permission for a day off. I now don't answer to anyone. Literally, I answer to no one. No one rings me out, Aaron, you got to do this. No one. There are some people that go, well, you answer to HMRC. Well, not really. I pay my taxes. So what? But I don't answer to anyone. I don't answer to customers. I don't answer to anyone, because we are in such a blessed world of automation, online, evergreen content. Create something once, it forever serves you and pays you forevermore. Digital products, e-learning, services, consulting, coaching. And for some people who don't want to admit the world is changing and navigating away from the physical industry purely to online, well, you need to take your head out the sand and grab your surfboard, because there's a wave coming. It's already happening. Online is where it's at. For big money, scalability, automation and passive income, up to 75-80% of passive income. Yes, you've got to do certain things, but passive income is a real thing. So I wanted to take control. I'm happy to take the pressure, the responsibility, the stress of building something for myself, opposed to the stress, the mental downfall, the loss of identity, the alter ego, all the problems, the office politics, the backstabbing, constantly having to be one step ahead in the corporate world. Not bothered about that. I will take control, responsibility any day of the week, building something for myself. The other thing is capped earnings. I wasn't happy being told, oh, by the way, just let you know, there's another 2% pay rise coming up next year. 2% pay rise. Sorry, what? Even on a promotion. I'm not being funny, this baffles me when people will literally graft, brown nose, backstab, suck up to managers, become a teacher's manager's pet for 2 years, 3 years for a promotion of 5, 10, 15, 20 grand gross. Really? It baffles me that some people are actually happy to go for a promotion to be paid peanuts in addition to what they're on, and graft 2 years pretending to be someone else, fake enthusiasm, fake laughing, going out on the works do, sucking up, you know. God, be yourself, be authentic, be happy, have no anxiety and depression, and build your own thing. I'm very fulfilled and I have a huge amount of purpose doing my own thing, but also the great thing is your earnings are not capped. Like, I can earn as much money as I want doing my own thing, you know, and that's what's great. When you take that level of responsibility, it's a whole nother level, you know, it really is. So take that responsibility, apply it to yourself, educate every day, and honestly, when it comes to earnings, you'll never be capped, you'll always earn more and more money. Which leads me on to the next point, mental health issues. How many people do we know that have mental health issues due to the workplace because they're unhappy? I mean, my God, there are so many people that go into a job who are suffering with anxiety and depression and who have really crumbled as a human being because they're unhappy and they're being bullied, harassed. They have to conform. They're being told what to do. There's a coworker, there's a manager that's micromanaging them, putting them on a performance review wrongly, that they're being tested and teased and threatened with loss of jobs and company restructure. And there's nothing that they can do about it because they've fallen into the trap of spending money that they earn, so living to their wage. That makes them very vulnerable, and then they go on to have mental health issues. I know many men, unfortunately, that are struggling mentally in their workplace because they are so tied to their salary that they then become such a different person to who they know. They're not authentic. They know deep down that they're not being authentic. It plays on them. Their mental health really takes a battering, and this all comes from the 9 to 5. And I'm not here to make out like the 9 to 5 is really bad, because I actually really enjoyed my last job, by the way. So for anyone that doesn't know, I was in logistics. I did enjoy my job. I did 4 on, 3 off. I did a 10-hour shift. I enjoyed the job, and it got me by and it served a purpose, but I did not enjoy the politics. I did not enjoy everything that I've said. And now that I do work for myself and I am responsible for everything that I do, which I'm happy to take that responsibility, I know I will never go back because I have too much opportunity, too much potential. My network is honestly such a blessing, and I know that if I ever got in a spot of bother, or I come against a hurdle that I'm not sure how I can jump over, or I hit a bottleneck in my business, I know that the support and communication is there to be had. I know that I can reach out to people who will help and support me. So knowing what I know now, and I hope passing this information on to you, that you at least explore your passions and hobbies. Because here's the thing as well, in the exciting world that we're in, Gary Vee did a video recently and he was like, people have no idea how in the next 5 years everything will be monetized. And he was like, if you like going out walking, you can literally pay someone to walk with you. Everything will be a career. How do you make something out of nothing? How do you monetize a passion or a hobby? You learn to position yourself as the authority in the niche that you enjoy or you're passionate about. Positioning. So how you are viewed, how you are perceived by people listening, which means you need to educate people. Okay, so be a how-to, a tips, a trips, tips and tricks, an informer, right? Provide information. And then it's about how do you commercialize that? How do you market the thing that you're really passionate about? And how do you create a service or a product off the back of that? That comes from problem solving. How do you figure out a pain point, and how do you then provide a solution to that pain point? And just think about it, you can do that for anything. So yeah, look, it's not about earning huge amounts of money. It's about freedom, happiness, choices, resources, living a life by design, not one that's assigned to you. And I think at this point, I must say, if you haven't checked out my full course tutorials, they're all free, by the way, right? There's no selling. One is how to quit your job and build an online business. And in that tutorial, I really break down the reality of how accessible and possible it is for you to actually get out of a 9 to 5 job and go and do your own thing, right? That full course tutorial is a long one, so you do.
Let's see what the comment section is saying, okay? Because so far we enjoyed the video. So I became self-employed as a dog walker. This is a perfect example, guys, that you could do anything really. Self-employed as a dog walker, I can never go back. I have control of my time. I don't deal with people, no politics BS. You don't have to make an insane amount of money. You just need to replace your current income. I'd rather make 50k a year working for myself rather than make 100k work for someone else. Wow. Dog walking, you know, that's very good. And they're making 50k raw. That's crazy. I'm 40 years old and would turn 41 in August. I was fired recently by a young manager of One Dimension Mindset. Only 30 days, that unstructured startup company. Only 30 days at that unstructured startup company. I really just want to start my own business. You need to start as soon as possible. I really just want to start my own business and I never return to it. Yeah, I hear it. Beyond it. Okay. I would rather work 100 hours than do someone else. Yep. I completely agree. I mean, all the comments are agreeing, and I also agree. You just have to be strategic about it. Okay, don't just drop off your 9 to 5 straight up like that. Have a plan to transition from your 9 to 5 into your own business. It's gonna serve you well. If not, trust me, you're gonna end up regretting it some way, somehow, because yeah. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not? And I'll catch you guys on the next one.